Yes.
Well, welcome everyone. This is, believe it or not, episode 20. We both took a look at that and said it's been 20. 20 episodes of Coffee Talk with Julie and Nate. And of course, I'm Nate and Julie is here. Hello again, Julie.
Hi, Nate. Good to
It's
see you.
Monday. Good to see you as well. Yeah, it's always nice to, I'm still kind of kicking the week off. Mondays are still the first day of the week. And you are finishing up, you had a foundation class this weekend, right?
Yes, today is the final day of the foundation online.
Okay.
Yeah, it always blows my mind how much bigger it is than even what we think going into it as the facilitator.
Okay. What do you mean by that?
Well,
Yeah.
we know the material, but it's the application of the tools and the changes that it creates in people's worlds that is totally mind-blowing
Right.
and unexpected.
That's cool. Do you have anybody it's their first time this time?
There is somebody from Brazil, it's her first time, and there's somebody from the UK. So we're like this triangle in the
Wow.
universe. It's a very small class, but it's very potent.
Hang on, so you're at what, 10 o'clock in the morning your time?
Yep.
So that's like maybe early afternoon UK, mid-afternoon, and then
It's like 5 or 6 o'clock or something for them.
oh, that's right, you're on the West Coast.
So it's their evening, but since we're doing shorter days, that it works.
Okay.
And then Brazil is just, I don't know, 5 hours later or something. So it's
Right.
their afternoon. Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's great. And just, the tools are amazing. And the places that we think that we've decided that this is how it is, all those foundational places like this is how life is and this is what happens, and all of that goes away. And there was one clearing the other day about that thing about telling the truth and telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God. And we're always like so truthful that we don't even make up stuff and just be funny. It's like we have to be so honest.
Yeah.
And in the manual, it says you'd rather be honest to everybody else and lie to yourself. And one person was saying, what do you mean I lie to myself? And when you look at it, like absolutely everything we tell ourselves is a lie. First of all, that that we're male or female, and that we are all these limitations that we've decided we are, because we're an infinite being, really. Oh, you have a bug.
There's a mosquito flying around. I'm good.
So, you take it from this, this little vision of how you look at the world through this little peephole, and then you kind of blow it apart, and it's like, wow, all of a sudden you have access to all of these capacities, all of this magic, all of this possibility that, we're just walking through the world with little blinders on, that it doesn't exist, but it does if you want to create it.
Yeah, I still remember that the first time I had that conversation about lying and how honesty and truthfulness was super important. And then I think it must have been Gary, and he's like, well, you lie to yourself all the time because you never really think about yourself. It's always about other people. And then when you have to look at yourself and look at where you're possibly lying to yourself, and then you're like, oh crap, I guess I am doing that. Like, yeah, it's still a bit of a mind bender.
It is. I was telling a story about a friend of mine who sometimes she wears her hair really curly, which is natural, and sometimes she straightens it. And she went out to dinner one night and just, sat at the bar and started chatting with this gentleman. And she just basically, um, you know, played and had a good time. Didn't tell her real name.
Right.
Just said all kinds of just whatever. Because we
Sure.
always have this, like, I have to tell my name, of course. And I have to,
Right.
like, she was just playing, right?
Yeah.
The next night she goes out and he's there again and she's got her hair totally different. She looks totally different. And
Okay.
he's like, hey, how's it going? She's like, who are you? And she pretended that she was her identical twin sister and had a whole nother different conversation with the guy. And I just thought, how fun is that? Like, it doesn't hurt anybody. If she's not looking to create a long-term something, like, why not
Right.
play and have fun?
Wow. I was thinking that poor guy, but I mean, not really, because
He got to have
yeah, sisters.
company. Yeah, twins. Hello.
Wow. Yeah. Huh. That's yeah, and that's just one of the things that shows up in foundation for me. I mean, it's and one of those things that I guess I've kind of forgotten about until you bring it up. And that's one thing that's really fun about these conversations is because we've both been around the multitude of tools for so long and you don't really forget about them, but every once in a while you're reminded of one of like, oh yeah, man. And also being so far removed from the first time that I saw it or came across it.
Yeah.
And like having to look at it again from this different point of view.
Oh
But the
my
thing
God.
that really popped for me was when you were talking about that is you mentioned kind of when you do the foundation for the first time, all these places kind of shift and change and you're aware of new possibilities. And I remember like it's also your choice to do that. Like it doesn't just happen because you take class. It's because of your choice.
Right. Totally.
The first class that I took, the larger class that I took was the 2 and 3 with Dane. And it was like halfway through the class and I was just getting, I kind of thought everybody in class was kind of being just a sheep. Like every time he ran a clearing, everyone was like, yes, yes, yes. And I raised my hand and said something like to that effect. And he's like, well, fine, then don't say yes. You can say no. Like you don't have to choose that. It's totally up to you. Like we don't make anybody give up their religion or give up anything that you want to believe. You're totally allowed to believe. You don't have to choose something that you don't want to choose. Like it's complete freedom to be you and take a look at, does it work for you? And if it doesn't, then you're allowed to change and choose it, you know? Yeah, that was just a really interesting thing to look at, how angry I was that people didn't seem to be like thinking through every clearing. Like, do I want to give this up? What am I giving up again? What does that word mean? Let me think about this.
Well, that's
And
interesting that you wanted to think it through because,
oh, so much.
yeah. And you're like trying to figure out, well, if I let this go, what's that going to mean? And what's going to show up then? But then eventually you just go with it. And then
Yeah.
another thing that I would notice is that people would say yes, but I could feel that they weren't letting go of anything. Like the energy wasn't moving at all.
Right.
So it didn't really matter if you said yes or not. It was this energetic releasing. If you were willing, you could release and step into greater possibilities.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such a freedom to realize that it's your choice and you create your life. Although, you know, looking at everything that you're handling now or dealing with now is of your own choosing, that's always a little bit jarring to look at. Like, why would I choose this? What am I doing?
Well, a better question would be, what do I love about choosing this?
Yeah,
Even though it's similar, it gets you to
right.
look at like these weird places where we've decided, I need to struggle, or I've bought into struggle is the right way. And so then when you see that, you can go, actually, that doesn't really work for me anymore. I don't think I'd like to choose that. Then you can pock and pod and change it and choose different.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Foundation is such a great class.
It
How
is.
exciting.
I'm realizing now why these things work together. Like taking foundation is great to like change this huge chunk of where we've bought into this reality and all the limitations in this reality and what's right and what's wrong and all of that keeps us stuck. But then there's all these specialty classes that are amazing, that take these tools and use them in specific ways in different areas that really get you to see how you can use it and apply it different. Because
Right.
here, it's like, well, we talked about this before. It's like going to a hardware store and like there's all the tools in the world that you could possibly use to build anything, which is what the foundation is. It's like, here, it's all these tools. But then there's this specialty class of, you know, a
Entities.
relationship thing or a parenting thing or an X-Men thing or whatever. And so it's like how to build this kind of house or how to build a boat or, you know what I mean? A tree house.
Yeah.
So it's like use these specific tools in this kind of way and play with it that way and see. So it's more experiential, I guess.
About using the tools.
Well, it's like sometimes I find that after foundation, like there's a huge amount of change. And then if people aren't continually looking at the manual or listening to other things, there's this tendency to kind of try to go back to the old way of living because it was this huge amount of change really quickly. And it's like, now what? And people, me, myself included, have a hard time continuing to be in the question. You just, it's so habitual to go to answer, conclusion, trying to figure things out that, after 4 days, there's a huge amount of change. And to maintain that and
Yeah.
to keep building those muscles and using these other ways of creating, it's really challenging.
Yeah.
Which is why there's so many other things. There's podcasts and there's clearing loops and there's groups of things and
Yeah. So many groups and so many things. But you're right. I mean, that's one of the things that you have to almost get used to is when you go to a class and you just feel amazing. And then the first day or two after you return home after class and you're like, wait a second, what happened? Like, where did that, where'd that fizz go? It's almost like if you pour like a Coke in a glass,
yeah.
it goes up and you have all the fizz in there and the fizz goes down, but the actual Coke goes up. So kind of like in class is the height of the fizz. And then after you leave, like it kind of goes down, but you got a little bit more still added to it.
It's so true. And that's like with that in mind, because I don't know, maybe because I'm a mom, like I want to like help people and get people to like join together and choose more.
Why would you say
I
because you're a mom? You could just do that because you're awesome.
Well, I don't know. It's
Okay.
sort of that mom instinct that you don't want the children to like fall away to the side. So you just want, come on, kids, come on, let's choose this. So I created a couple of different things that people could do incrementally so that you don't just totally lose touch with everyone.
So
and
these are sort of like post-class
yeah,
exercises,
and like gym
activities.
membership things. It's the free gym membership so that you at
Okay,
least continue to exercise those muscles
right,
so they don't atrophy. And, then incremental memberships so that you can choose more and
right.
continue building the muscles because it is a muscle. It's the
Yes,
weirdest thing. Like, do you remember the first time you facilitated a class?
yes,
Do you remember how extremely exhausted you were in a way that you never had been before?
yes. And like freaked out. It's so weird because I was a little bit freaked out beforehand. And then the thing is, once you're in class, once you've started class, you settle into it and you're just kind of in the zone in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then you're right, then class is done and you're just like, and you don't even realize you were working that hard. And it's not even working. It's a really hard to describe that. But yeah, after class, you're just completely wiped out, like just wiped out. Um,
Yeah, yeah. And depending on, what kind of class and how long it was, like it's like climbing up a mountain with not working out enough. Like you're using muscles that you didn't know you had. And even though your body isn't physically doing anything, you're sitting in a chair or you're standing in the room,
yeah,
it is so exhausting. I guess it's the creating the space for people to step into or something. I don't even know what it is, but it's
yeah,
incredible. And
yeah,
then you do another one, you do another one, and then you build up that muscle of awareness that allows you to look at almost anybody's situation, anybody's upset with total no point of view
right,
and be able to like zero into the specific thing that they could look at and tweak and change. So
yeah.
it's really cool to build the muscle because then you get your, I guess, what is it, X-ray vision?
Yes. And uh, I had a conversation with Max one time, and I said something about facilitating or getting classes together, and he was like, "Man, the easiest part of creating a class is the actual facilitation. Like the marketing and the advertising and getting people to register and show up and get all that in the venue and all that other stuff. That's actually the institution of having a class created. But once like the butts are in the seats and like it's 9 o'clock and you start, that's the part that's actually kind of the most fun and the easiest, because you just be you and be aware and be in allowance and no judgment, and then suddenly it's time for
Just,
lunch. Like,
yeah.
sure, I know that. At the same time, it's so cool the space that you can step into when you're facilitating, and just like, yeah, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
And then it becomes like, what would it take to be that all the time and not step out of it?
Yeah. And here you are doing this for 5 days now. So
Mm.
this is there anything, do you ever feel like it's the last day, oh no, we didn't talk about this, we have to hurry up and cover this, or I can't forget to talk about this, or is there anything like that?
Actually, I haven't had that with foundation. I almost wanted it to go to 3 days because when I've had people in person, like we've been able to cover most of it, and it's almost like people have more time to tell their stories or, to deal with their personal issue kind of a thing.
Right.
Um, and I have the space for all of that. I was sort of hoping that he would make it a 3-day class, but doing 5 shorter days has been really great because it gives people time to integrate and they're fresh every morning. It's not like you come back after lunch and everybody's like, whoa.
Right.
And since we can't really do the body work together. Like we're running it on ourselves,
Hmm.
and that helps. But
How do you find that working?
well, when there's more people, I think
Hmm.
it's much more perceptible. With just the three of us, it's it's not optimal. But I've done like body stuff with more people online together running things, and you can really perceive it.
So when you have like 10 people on all like in their homes online separately, but they begin running a process sort of together, that's you can perceive that.
Yeah, and as people join on the Zoom, you could perceive the incremental expansion of the energy. It's sort of like, having bars trades by yourself and, have a few people or a larger group, but then global bars day and it's like people all over the world, like you can really perceive the energy of that. So
Yeah.
to me, it seems like the larger the group, the more the energetic contribution, regardless of what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. That's very cool.
Mhm.
For some reason, yeah.
But, I still, every single day and every night, I still run processes on myself, by myself, whatever, connect to the earth, connect to all the people choosing this. Let's
Have you been
go.
making your way like through the body manual, or you just kind of ask like what's gonna?
No, I just ask to run different things. Sometimes I ask what my body would like, and sometimes I just, do MTVSS or the facelift process. I mean, you gotta
Got to keep your face
maintain
ready.
that youthful glow. Hello.
Yes. Um, yeah, I've had that. That's one of the interesting side effects of access, and it's really recently made me think about. Um, it's not. I think that it's not just the body work and just the energetic processes, but also when you live with less judgment and you live more from no point of view, that actually really affects your body. It affects how your body's created. It affects how your face looks. It affects how you carry yourself. Like, and yeah, so I've gotten comments about looking younger than I am, but then especially when I'm in a group of people who are like younger than me or roughly my age, the comments about like, I never thought that they were the same age as you, or I thought he was totally older than you, or, all those kind of things. Um, so that's been fun. Like my purpose with access was never like I want to look younger, you know.
No, it's just
But
a
it's
side effect. Sorry.
no, I
Some of the
like I'm
side
not
effects are
I'm not
ease,
complaining.
peace, joy, and looking younger.
Yeah,
But you don't necessarily go after that. It just happens.
yeah,
Yeah.
but
See, the part of the problem is that you don't have kids, so you don't have the milestone marker. You know,
oh
that
yeah,
that's
huge problem.
different. Like, shit, my kids, they're ruining it for me because they're 20 and 23. And, if I have a 23-year-old, then I have to be over 45,
Let's see, 20.
maybe over 40. I'm not 39 anymore. Oh, shit.
I have been
That's what my dad used
occasionally.
to say, though. He always said he was 39. And when I turned 39, he's like, shit,
I
I
can't say
can't
that
say that
anymore.
anymore. I'm
Yeah,
like, Dad,
I've
you
been
can just be 49, okay?
um, occasionally I've done the math on some of the students that I've had come to English classes here, and every once in a while I'm like, oh, I could actually technically be your dad. Oh, that's weird. And then there was one class where, um, what did they say? Something like, oh yeah, her mom is like really young. And then they looked at me and they're like, I think she's actually your age because the girl's like 25 or something. And I was like, oh, so yeah, that's always
Well,
fun
doesn't
math.
Gary say that every point of view creates a line on your face, and all the
I,
fixed points of view create the stiffness in your body? So
has
the
he?
more we clear these points of view, the
Right.
less lines and the less stiffness. So, we just have this more youthful, generative
Right.
body to live with.
Well, how did we
Terrible.
get so lucky?
It's terrible, I tell you.
Super cool. Yeah. Huh. Oh my goodness. We have to go soon. I didn't get to um yeah, I had a couple questions for you about kids and things. My sister had a baby on Friday,
Oh,
and
wow. Congratulations. You're an uncle.
yeah, yes, I am, and it's been, I don't know, it's interesting, I guess. Um, just kind
What's
of,
what are the questions?
oh, oh no, I was just going to talk about like watching all of the points of view and expectations and judgments being already like shoved at this little kid, like, and people aren't even aware that they're doing it.
Yep.
Like they'll make a comment about something and I'm just like, I can just imagine this little body going like, ooh, 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 like what the
Yeah, but okay.
yeah.
You're coming from living here for a long time where you have a point of view about it. They don't have a point of view. They're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
I
that's
guess.
silly. Why do you think that? They have interesting point of view when we all do when we first
Right,
come in and embody. We're like, interesting point of view. How do we do this here? And
right.
you know how like we came in and we saw our parents and they were all whatever they were and we were like trying to show them, be happy, choose love, be peaceful. you know
Yeah,
Babies just have that, and we actually all have it within us. It's just a matter of reigniting that little tiny flicker of a spark.
yeah. Yeah, so it's, I don't know, it's been really interesting to look at it because I've not really been this close to a super newborn baby. And I don't mean physically close, obviously, but in sort of like
Yeah.
developmentally being able to sort of observe what that process is and just be like, wow, yeah. Anyway, that was
Yeah. Well,
but
I know we have to go
I know we both have a meeting in like a minute. So
in a minute. Yes. So
enjoy your foundation. Um, nice to see you for number 20. And I will see you again in a week for 21.
awesome.
Have a great class.
You too. Take
Bye bye.
care. Bye.